If I look at the Ordnance Survey map, you can see the Oni Trail coming out of Craven Arms, and indeed it does follow the river all the way along, and in fact peters out before Horderley. So getting to Horderley station is going to require some sort of detour. So actually I do need to be following the trail down by that hedge, which is by the road, and Horderley station should just be round that corner, which is where I'm heading now. There was great celebration when the line opened, but unfortunately the euphoria didn't last very long. The line unsurprisingly quickly became into financial difficulties, and a number of crises came about. Firstly, a banking crisis. A bank went into receivership, which caused panic across the country, and suddenly the line was in danger of becoming bankrupt. Then some legal action was taken against the company, which included part of the line between Horderley and Craven Arms being taken up, and a horse-drawn shuttle was used to get passengers to Craven Arms station. Things still didn't improve, and a sale of a locomotive for £700, which was then leased back, was another solution to try and get the line back on some financial stability. However, despite all these problems, the line did still continue. It was felt that there was enough revenue to actually keep the line running as a mixed passenger and freight line. However, rumours by 1931 were rife that the line was going to close, and for 4 years it was yes it will, no it won't, but in 1935 the inevitable happened and the line closed. Sadly, it didn't make that extra 4 years to the Second World War, because all the other Shropshire lines, or many of the other Shropshire lines of course, had a reprieve in the Second World War, particularly in terms of ammunition dumps, and the Bishop's Castle line would have been perfect for military use during the Second World War. Alas, with the closure 4 years previous, that wasn't allowed to happen and didn't happen, unfortunately. Well, I've come back down to the river, and the railway line followed the hedge in the distance, and this is Horderley station today, just in front of me. Now this is a picture of Horderley station just before closure in 1934. The next station on the line was Plowden, and this is a picture taken in the early 1900s. This picture is taken around the same time. And here's Plowden station today. A really nice residential home. This is an interesting picture of the station. It's actually after the line was closed, and that's the demolition train coming in to pull up the track. Well, I'm just north of Plowden station here, and the line is going through these gardens. Well, I've come about half a mile north of Plowden now, and this is the point where the railway crosses the stream. And you can still see the structure of the bridge in place. Well, between Horderley and Bishop's Castle there's not a lot of evidence of the track, but we can certainly see it here. If I pan to the north, we can see the cuttings that were made in the rock here, and this was done in order to make the pathway for the line going further northwest towards Eton station in the distance. Now I've moved up to Eton now, and you can see the track moving westwards out to Lytham Heath. On the right hand side here we have Eton station, which is now again, like Plowden, a lovely residence. This picture of Eton station is just before closure in 1933. Well, this is Lytham Heath, and you can see where the track came down, and the station was just to the left of the line here, where those lorries are, and really there's nothing left of it. The trains came down this part of the station, then reversed out down the loop. And here we have a better view of the station area here at Lytham Heath, The line was over there in the distance coming down through the trees. This is a picture of the station about 5 years before closure. This is a picture looking from the other side, looking west, and in the distance is where the extension should have been, that was never built to Montgomery. Here's that same view from just a slightly different angle. Now this is a picture of the station in the Second World War, the station being used to store ammunition. What a shame the line wasn't still there, because it would have been used extensively by the MOD for sure. Well, if we take a look west from this point, this may not look very interesting, but this is actually very significant. This is where the extension should have started up to Montgomery. What we've got here is a field, and this is probably what it's always looked like during the history of the line. You do wonder though, of course, what the fate of this line would have been had they built the extension to Montgomery. That, of course, we'll never know. Well, despite there being little evidence of the track up here near Lyddham Heath, we're actually on the loop here. We're about a quarter of a mile out of Lyddham Heath station, and we're facing north and south, so we're just coming round on the arc as it points towards Bishop's Castle and heads towards Bishop's Castle station. Well, I'm about halfway between Lyddham Heath and Bishop's Castle, looking north, and emerging from these trees was the line. Crossing the road here over a bridge and on its way to Bishop's Castle. Well, evidence of the bridge crossing the road is still here today, and once again the stonework's still pretty intact and in good condition. Well, I'm just approaching Bishop's Castle now, and this thick undergrowth is where the line appeared on its way into the station in the town. Well, here in Bishop's Castle there's nothing left of the station, and it's this industrial estate here, or at the back of it I should say, is where the station was, behind those boards there. This is what the station looked like back in 1903. There's absolutely no trace of the old railway here at all now. And finally, this is a bit of a sad picture showing the site during demolition. Just thought I'd finish by showing you some of the books that I've been using on this line. I've got my usual Bible here, The Lost Railways of Shropshire. I've also been using this Shropshire Railways book by Jeff Cryer. The Middleton Press books are very good, and the Shrewsbury Ludlow book has quite a bit about this line. But I have a couple of recent additions to my collection, and there's this book here, A Portrait of a Country Railway, Bishop's Castle, by John Morgan. But also this excellent book, The Bishop's Castle Railway Pictorial Presentation, by Ken Lucas. You can also find out more about this line on my website, www.shropshirerailways.co.uk. Oh, just one more reference is this little book, The Bishop's Castle Railway by Edward Griffith. It's a fairly old book, but a real wealth of knowledge. Well, the Bishop's Castle line is certainly one which is remembered with great fondness. It has a whole group of followers, a museum, and a wealth of books that have been produced over the years. The history of the line itself is definitely a case of what and maybe. What if the line was extended to Montgomery? What if the line reached the Second War, had a reprieve? We just don't know the answer to those questions, like with a lot of other lines. The one thing for sure is there are deep fond memories of the line in this part of Shropshire.